Hello everyone, welcome to this live webinar on career development. This webinar is brought to you by Sharda University in association with WAP. We have with us convener Dr. Monica Agarwal and also Professor Swati Bansal, who is a co-convener. Welcome to this webinar, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I am Paresh Masade. I am CEO of WAP and your host for today. Basically, we help colleges with their alumni relations. I'm working with more than 1,000 educational institutions across the country. We've been in lockdown for quite some time, and we thought, why not utilize this period in a constructive way and help you stand out of the crowd. And today we have here to learn about career development from a very own alumnus of Sharda University, Mr. Neeraj Kumar Kushwaha. Neeraj is from the class of 2010 from School of Business Studies and is currently working with Facebook as strategic partner manager scaled for South Asia. And basically, he helps with managing developer partnerships at Facebook. He loves engaging with passionate entrepreneurs, students, and very early stage startups. And when he's not working or traveling, he enjoys cricket, squash, and spending time with family. It's a pleasure to have you, Mr. Neeraj. Welcome to this live webinar. You are on mute, Neeraj.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paresh, for the introduction. Quick confirmation, can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much for the kind introduction, Paresh. And thanks so much, everybody, for joining this webinar. I am Neeraj. Yeah, like Paresh mentioned, let me also begin with talking about what this pandemic has actually offered me in last 2.5 years. I have had many new experience. I managed to speak with a couple of my old friends, family members, have acquired few new skills, and have connected with a lot of friends whom I have never got a chance to connect otherwise. And lastly, I think I'm truly humbled to have this opportunity that actually took pandemic for us to get to this opportunity where I reconnected with my alma mater once again and have this opportunity to share my experience with everybody. Today, I'm going to talk about the most important thing that you all are looking forward in this pandemic, which is pretty much watching TikTok, Instagram, and Netflix. I think this is all that we are doing. Say yes if I'm right? So give yourself a shout out if you have become a user of one of these platforms in last 3 months. I was not a user of TikTok or Instagram before, and I started to use it. So I'm learning that skill as well. In case if you want me to follow you on Instagram, share your handles. Would love to follow. I don't use the other platform much. Yeah, jokes apart. I think the other thing that I'm really amazed during this last 3 months of lockdown is the amount of creative content that has been created in last 3 months on these platforms, which is great to me. It goes on to say that every problem is an opportunity. And please use your chat box to tell us. We have a moderator listening to you, and I'll get those feedback. So please use your chat box to tell us if you have done anything new, and if you have experienced any new experience in last 3 months. Would love to know and learn from you as well. I'm hoping someone is moderating, so we'll get to those experiences and we'll talk about it in a little bit later in my session. Right. So I was told it's a mix of student right from business school to engineering, and it was actually open to our other seniors who could join. But I'm hoping majority of the audience that is on the webinar today is largely a student. Keeping that in mind, my presentation is largely being focused around career development to help you guide through that process and share some of my learning. Very soon, you all will graduate and will be faced with series of choices to make in your future. Believe it or not, the decisions that you will make, gut feelings that you will have, and a habit that you will build will define your career ahead. And that's pretty much my learning. You can move on to become an influencer on social media, or went on to build another social media platform and create economic opportunities for yourself, not just for yourself, but 1,000 others as well. Uh, I'm no expert to guide you on which career to choose. Rather, I would share on what is the right approach when you start to think about it. I want to use this opportunity to really exchange my learning, share some meaningful experience, and hope to be able to give you a framework to manage your career later. So the agenda for today is simple: help you realize the road ahead is not easy. Great grades alone will not get you there, and it is important to think strategically about your career and how you develop it. I give you a couple of tips and tricks that has worked for me. Along the way, if you have any questions, if you need more clarification on certain slide, please do use your comment box, and I will answer those questions at the end of the session. So I think it's an interesting segue because 3 days from now, I will finish off my I will finish a decade of my professional career. It's about 10 years when I passed out from my college in 2010 to about May 22nd. 27th is when I joined my first company in Mobi. I have been fortunate to work with companies that are highly regarded in internet space globally. Early on in my career, I got a chance to contribute to India's two successful startups that went on to become unicorn before I joined Facebook. Like I said, 27th May 2010 was the day when I joined in Mobi. Uh, I was I was the first fresher hired by the company at that time. I was pretty much about 99% of the workforce by then that InMobi had was either from Ivy League, or they were from top tier consulting or internet companies. It was a VC funded high growth stage startup who didn't want to hire a fresher, as it required them to train them, which is really a hard job for somebody who is VC funded and really focusing on growth. I remember we were four friends who from our batch who got interviewed, and I was the only one eventually got this opportunity. Just about 2 months when I joined the company as well as me both realized that we probably made a mistake. Company didn't know how to manage fresher. I didn't know how to flourish in high performing fast paced startup. In 2 months I was given a notice to pull up socks. That was alarming for me. The next 1 year was really a question of survival and proving my worth in the company. My focus was only gaining new experiences, learning, be able to prove my value to build a long-term career within the company, because somewhere down my heart I knew that this is the right company, and if I were to really do well in my career, I really need to prove my value to the company to be able to build a career. And I didn't look for any other opportunity outside back then. Fast forward to 5 years that I spent in my first company from 2010 to 2015. I became a case study in the company on how a college grad, fresher out of a college, has built a career within the company that led the company to think and start hiring more graduates from the college. I have done multiple awards, recognition, global projects early in my career, and then I joined Flipkart. Facebook happened, where the story is no different. I was presented with many different challenges, and we had to deal with on an every daily basis. The point I'm trying to make here is that success is not a straight road, as you can see on your slides. Most of us would imagine it's a straight road upwards, but it is really a path of up and down. You will have to go through many twists and turns, and the only way to survive is to be prepared, gain a new experience, and develop yourself. That's really the takeaway for us from this one slide that I wanted to share. As I reflect on my career, twist and turn, it certainly wasn't a straight road for us. And I'm sure many of us who have already started the career or even a student, it's the same story. It has, to me, it has taken many turns, some deliberate, some not so much. Some people call it a mistake. I call it a learning. But today, I offer some perspective, which will hopefully provide some practical ideas, insight, and also help you navigate your own career as you begin that journey after passing out from your college. So stay with me for next couple of minutes. I'll take about 15 minutes to give you some more insights on how do you look at career development as a framework, and what are the things that you need to focus. But before we begin, I highly encourage everyone on the webinar, use your comment box to tell me what are the biggest failures or the biggest learning that you had so far in your life. If you and also if you give your consent to share with a larger audience at the end of the session, we would pick it and share with everybody so that everyone have the opportunity to learn from it, not just from me, but you as well. So we'll look forward those comments. We will share at the end of the session. Right. Enough about me. Now I'm starting a career development conversation. There was a small story about me, how I reflect back on my career. And what I really learned is really a framework that I wanted to share with you. It is easy to be confused about how to grow your career. And many of us just go with the flow without giving enough thinking and planning behind. And that's probably the first mistake that we do. My experience with some of the most successful people and average people is that the often not they're not honest about the real needs and effective development of the career planning. And initially we pretty much think of going with the flow, getting the first offer, moving and starting the career, and then progressing through the ladders in our career. And there is lack of planning, there's a lack of thought behind how you want to develop your career. And that's the first mistake that is probably we make. They let destiny to drive their career, while successful people that I met, they really plan ahead. uh, and it is absolutely okay that plan may fail, but what is not okay is not to have a plan. If you have a plan, it may fail, you can probably rework and have a greater control on your career. So that's the first piece and first thing that I'm asking. The challenge is that you are competing with every individual who wants to be on the same merit of a career, and they are actually fighting for the same goal that all of us are fighting. And we have to take control of our career planning to ensure we are putting ourselves in a position for a long term growth. When I say long term, it's your career is just not 2 years or 3 years. It's decades and decades, and you have to think long term for you to plan it ahead. So here are the three pillars of career that helped me become more strategic about my career development process, which is essentially finding your strength, gaining experience, and developing a growth mindset. We'll talk about each of these pillars in little more detail in the next few slides. Stay with me. Starting with the most important factor, strength. We often hear this term, but seldom people know the real meaning of strength. Yeah. Uh, could I ask everyone to use your comment box and tell me what strength means, and what do you think a strength is in context of career development? I'm waiting, and I'll probably ask Paresh if you can get us a few responses on what people are saying with regards to the strength that they have. If we are getting some response, maybe early one or two.
We are just waiting to see the comments.
Yeah.
There are a few other comments, but
Got it.
Pawan Kumar says the thing in which you are really good at, and Akshdeep says being strong.
Got it. Yeah, I I'll go with so one of the things that Pawan says is the thing that you are really good at, and that is really what we have been seldom thought about. That is our strength. If I'm good at giving a presentation, that is probably my strength. But I think I differ to it, and in the next 1 minute I'll explain what really strength is. Early on in my career, that's the common misconception that I had, and that my strength is something that I'm good at. Like Pawan said, for example, one could be good at economics, HR, coding, testing, selling, teaching, or any sports for that matter. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that's your strength. Sounds confusing, right? I know. Stay with me. Actually, strength is something that you enjoy doing and passionate about. It gives you an energy. At the same time, you are good at it. You may be good at 1,000 different things, but if those things are not giving you energy, what you're doing when you're doing it, that's not your strength. And that is where you should continue to it, but you need to find out what you call as strength is really not that piece. The day you find out what you really enjoy, then you put an extra effort on harnessing those skills, and you become best at it. And that you call it and define it as a strength. To give you an example from cricket, as you can see on your slide, right? Virat Kohli is best at his batting. That's his strength, definitely, no doubt about it. Though one of his strengths are fielding too, and not because he's gifted with the fielding skills, because he enjoys and he's passionate about it, and hence he puts an extra effort to excel on it. And he's probably one of the best fielders in the world that we don't realize or recognize enough as much as we do realize or recognize for his batting. You will find many of such examples in variety of the career or the variety of fields that you probably aspire for, uh, and figure out what is that one thing, two things, three things that you're good at the same time you really enjoy it. When you do it, it gives you an energy. That one thing you can actually continue doing day night and day night, and you will not get feel tired. That is your real strength. Reiterating, strength is not something that you're good at it, period. Your strength is something that you enjoy doing, and you never get exhausted. Take a minute to think what is that one thing that you can keep on doing again and again and again, and you don't feel exhausted about. It gives you a different level of energy. Take an example of filmmakers. Take an example of sportsmen. They practice a lot. Filmmakers makes movie day, night, and day, and maybe every day in a year. They don't feel exhausted about it because they really enjoy doing it. They feel passionate, and that gives them an energy. And when you find those kind of skills, when you find those kind of activities that give you energy, you can take it to the next level and be really best at it. So that's one thing that is really your strength. uh, it's not easy to find out your strength early on in your career, because you have to go through different experiences for you to really realize what gives you energy. So here's a quick frame of reference for you to think. The red circle represents the attributes that you are good at. The black are the attribute that gives you energy when you do it. The intersection which you see of these two circles are your strength areas. As you can see, there are few things which you are good at that may not, that is out of that intersection. So you have to ignore those pieces. Those are not your strength. Some of you might be good at solving problems, finding insight from data, doing presentation, writing long documents, mapping processes, organizing events, and multiple other things. And think about whether doing these things really gives you an energy. Can you continue doing it day, night, 365 days a year, and you still feel the same way like you're doing for the first day? That is probably your strength. In my case, I can tell you confidently, public speaking, presentations are probably one of my strength areas that I enjoy and I deliver passionately. I may not be best at it, however, it gives me an energy when I engage with people, when I communicate, exchange my ideas and thoughts. So I think you should discuss these ideas and these strength areas with your faculty members, with your friends who fall in your golden zone, whom you can rely and be confident that they will share honest feedback. Right. So that's one piece. So that's one pillar which you really think about at this stage. The second piece is, and I'm sure you all agree, experiences best accelerate your development. Be it any kind of experience, good or bad, it doesn't matter. You will want to understand which experience will build your career, and more importantly, the few most powerful experiences that will bring you closer to your goal that you have set for yourself. So look for and set those experiences, define where you want to go in your career, and then chart the kind of experiences you want to have to reach there. For example, if you want to join an internet company, let's suppose in a sales role or an engineering role, look at the kind of people who are working there. What is the kind of experience do they have, and find a way to gain those experiences. Similarly, for any other career aspiration that you want to perceive in future, find out those people who are already in those profession, what is the kind of career trajectory or the experiences they have gathered, and figure out how can you gain those kind of experience, because that really contributes to 75% of your development. There are two types of experiences that will accelerate your development. One is functional and the other is management experience. Functional experiences help you make great at something, that is marketing, supply chain, coding, tech, R&D. So these are functional experiences. You may want to do a sales assignment, you may want to do a coding assignments, bring in some coding experience to gain that kind of experience. And they allow to prove that you are highly competent at what you do and are much better than rest of the world. Then then comes the management experience, which will help you prove that you can perform this activity in various different circumstances, like organizing this webinar, or at the time of pandemic, if you're doing it and some of you are involved, this is the kind of experience that you're having to present the kind of challenges you're facing while organizing at a global scale, where you're inviting people and alumni from a different places to come and talk, and at the same time on the other side you are making sure there's enough audience in the room to listen to it, and make sure there's a content which is calibrated well in the interest of the larger audience. So that is the kind of experiences you want to develop for yourself, uh, to develop yourself in future. It could be as simple as managing your college fest. It could be as simple as participating in any alumni activity, collaborating with your faculties on a certain assignment. And believe me, you can find all of these assignments within the confined campus that you have, if you really want to figure out and do something. Uh, in my case, I found it too within my college days itself. I did multiple live projects to experience multiple projects, be it with corporates or be it within the campus. In my second year, pretty much I spent a lot of time only doing uh, projects. In my second year, I accomplished about 5 to 6 different projects, right from Cargill Foods, Birla. There were projects within the campus that I've taken up to do. There was a time when my whole batch was doing an international tour, and I took a conscious call to skip the international tour and rather invest that time on building some of these experiences, where at the back end I was managing their international tour, sitting in the admin office, right? So those are the hard calls you may have to take for you to decide what is important and what is the kind of experience will add value towards the goal that you have set for yourself. The remaining 10% and 20% is pretty much easy. You're already taking a formal classes, you are getting the formal training, you will have constant feedback and coaching coming from all the people that you engage with. It's important to take up those feedback and say thank you, because feedback is gift, and make sure you develop on those feedback and those and improve on what you have given as a feedback, right? um, So that was second pillar, right? Experience. First was strength, finding your strength. Second is gaining experience, and third is adopt to growth mindset. There's a famous quote: "Just because you haven't found your talent doesn't mean you don't have one." And I totally agree. Um, all of us have that one talent, not just one, many talents. We just need to explore and find out, and only by gaining different kind of experiences we unlock that talent. So always have a growth mindset. So what is growth mindset? Individuals who believe their talent can be developed through hard work, good strategies, input from others, have a growth mindset. Individuals who think that, no, I don't have this talent, this is not my cup of tea, I can't do that, or they always feel that, no, my strength is this, I will continue to focus on this. uh, World will evolve and change, and you'll probably left behind, right? Take a classic example of today's world, right? Suddenly in a month you woke up after 2019 to 2020, you realizing that the world has changed. The way we used to function, the way we used to work, be it corporate or in our houses, is totally changed. So only the people who have the growth mindset, only the companies who have the growth mindset, they will go back and figure out the ways to survive and be able to grow even in this situation. That is really the mindset. So they tend to achieve. So people who have a growth mindset, they really tend to achieve much more than those with fixed mindset. And this is because they worry less about looking smart and put more energy on learning new things. So to remain in growth zone, we must identify and work with these triggers that you see on your screen. One, building a new skill and experiences for yourself that is aligned with your career goal. Two, strengthening your areas that you enjoy doing. Uh, Today you may find some of these areas that you enjoy doing, you may not be good at it, but since you enjoy and you're passionate about it, put a work behind it for you to be best at it, because these are the areas where the world will value you far greater than rest everybody, and you can excel on these things. So think about what are your strength areas and how you can be best at it. Develop your personal career uh, roadmap for near term and long term, uh, with a defined timelines and the kind of experience that you want to gain, and start executing. That is really a growth mindset. uh, People often confuse a growth mindset is really being flexible or open minded or with having a positive outlook. Growth mindset is not about having a positive outlook, it's not about securing better grades, or it's not about improving on it. Uh, Grades are good, you probably get great score in the exams, but it only take you from one place to the next place. After that, if you're not having the growth mindset, you're not developing yourself, you will be stuck at that place. So ticking boxes on the attendance and ticking boxes on your project work probably will not help you. It's a hard work, and you can gain a lot by deepening your understanding of growth mindset concepts. So I encourage everybody to go back, read little more about growth mindset. This webinar has a very little time for me to talk about in detail, but go and do a little more research on what growth mindsets are. In today's world, modern companies value a lot people who have a growth mindset, and they have a developed mechanism to find out ways whether you have that or not. So learn more about it. It'll give you a richer sense of who you are, where do you stand, and how do you want to move forward in your career. Right. So that was third pillar. Pretty much is where the framework ends. Um, and I want you to think about those three pillars, go back and research a bit more. That marks the completion of the three pillars that I wanted to really share with regards to the career development. But let me quickly give you some COVID bonus as well. Since all of us are being locked down, we have ample amount of time. I'm delivering this webinar. You are listening to me. You've given me your precious time. Let me share some of these bonus tricks on what you should be doing more to make maximum uh, out of this lockdown. So think about your career in 2 years time frame. That is really worked for me. Think about it. What is that you want to achieve? What is your plan to achieve in a 2 years time frame? You may not nail it at the first attempt, but my suggestion is keep talking to people, refine it continuously, take a break, plan into a smaller milestones, and take a baby steps to move forward. Exchange that plan with your faculty members, with the mentors that you engage with your close friend who can share their honest feedback and give you some tips to prepare yourself. So that's one piece that I highly encourage you to do it as a next step from here. Uh, the second thing is I remember early in your in your career, what you're really trying to find out is your product market fit, what you are best at it. That's really what you're trying to find out. For someone it just takes about a year or two. For someone else it takes 5 years. For someone else's it may take a decade. But the day you find out your product market fit, which industry you belong to, what you're really good at, what your strengths are, that's the day you can be on a different zone and a different orbit to operate. It may possible your plan may fall flat, and you may have to restart all over again. In most likely scenario, you may have to change your plan many times. That is completely okay. Uh, in the corporate world, before we launch a final product, we prepare a complete plan, then do a minimal viable launch to gain feedback. On most occasions, we make significant changes in the final product that goes to the market. Uh, and same applies to our career as well. Having a plan behind helps us to execute better. And along this process, having a mentor, faculties, people whom you can fall back, who can act as a mirror, talk to them, be vulnerable, discuss very openly on what you think about your career, what are your plan looks like, and listen to their feedback as gift for you to work on it. Remember, you can't be perfect with what you're doing because you don't have a complete context, and this is perfectly okay. Everyone start at the same place, but as long as you are gaining experience, learning, and growing your network, you will get there. You will reach to a place where you want to be. Finally, my overall advice and key takeaways for you guys are: be intentional about what you do, with whom you network, and how you spend your time and energy. Take control of your career, knowing your strength, adopting growth mindset, and planning 2 years in time frame. You can solely define what success looks like for yourself. I firmly believe that each one of you have a unique strength that will lead you to excel in your various fields that you choose in future. And the only way to find that is to gain experience. Be crisp about your goals. Know what makes you happy. Surround yourself with mentors, good friends, advisors whom you can have a meaningful conversation. A dream job in a fancy company or receiving a multi-billion-dollar funding doesn't define success at all. That's my belief. All of you will taste your own success in a different flavor sooner or later. So don't be tricked into believing your self-worth is tied to an external labels of success. It is no sense to me. You do enjoy the moment, take stock of what you have in life, know how unique you are, and focus on what you can control. That's really important. Everything takes time, and overnight success takes decades to happen. Uh, Someone out there loves you and think you're awesome. Be it your faculty, be it me, your alumni, your seniors, your advisors. Everyone believes in you and you're awesome. And I believe in too. Wishing you all the best. Thank you so much for listening to me and have a great future ahead. With that, I really wrap up this session and will look forward to answer some of your questions.
Thank you, Neeraj. That was really very good presentation, and you actually covered entire aspects of career development. May you switch off your screen so that we can have your video?
Yeah.
Yeah, so perfect. I will keep my video off so that you are on focus. So we have a couple of questions from audience, and so there's few comments as well. Mridul Dharwal says that Neeraj, very well presented. We truly appreciate your hard work, hard efforts. It will motivate other students. And Priyanka Khandka asked a question. Neeraj, meanwhile, we're we are in our development process. How do we stay motivated? And how much of pro bono should we be doing to reach the point where you think you are good to go?
Yeah, I think Priyanka always asks the hard question. She used to be my senior in college, and I know that. I
Uh,
think I
to,
don't have a
to add a thing, she was on one of the webinars in the
yeah,
previous
yeah,
session. Yeah.
yeah. I was that. So I think there's no simple answer to it on what is the set level where you can consider yourself that no, this is the level that I wanted to reach. And I can give you my example that like I said in my presentation, you will reset your career goals in every 2 years. The world is changing. Whichever company, whichever profession you go and pick, uh, in a 2 years time frame, it will change and it will evolve, uh, and it will learn, and you will learn to it. The important piece is really to me is to know it's really good if you can get the visibility of where you want to go in 10 years time frame, or a 5 years time frame. It's a long term goal. Set yourself, but don't be bogged down with that long term goal, because sooner in 2 years or 3 years you may have to change, realizing the other variables that are going around in the life. So always set your goals in 2 years time frame, and start with a small baby steps on what is that do you need to do for you to reach out towards that goal. um, uh, so I don't have a simple answer for Priyanka to really tell her this is the end. My only suggestion is, whichever your goal is, uh, think of it in 1 or 2 years of time frame on where do you want to reach in just 1 year time frame or 2 years time frame, and what are the 3 or 4 different activities, different experiences, or different developments that you need to incorporate within yourself for you to reach there. And once you reach and hit that milestone, think about the next 2 years. It may possible that you probably reach there in sooner than what you estimated, so you can set another aggressive goal for yourself. It may possible it may take longer than 2 years, so you can be a little conservative, and be more realistic to yourself.
Sure. There's one question from Mr. Abhaya Singh. Sorry, Miss, I'm not sure of gender, but how important do you feel mentorship is, and especially when you kickstart your career?
Is really important. To me, it personally helped a lot. Um, During my first year of college, I was totally alone, largely relying on the guidance of the faculty and the advices that I get around from probably few of my seniors and others. I think that 1 year I really used for me to uh, gain into a zone where I could I could engage with some of the mentors, and they really helped me to realize some of the things that I shared, like gaining an experience, doing some life projects, um, and building your CV in a development way, right? So it's really important. Now, one of the important thing that I didn't realize then, which I realize is a mentor doesn't have to be very highly qualified, somebody really senior from a corporate world or the world that you aspire for. Uh, a mentor can be your friend. One, some of the qualification criteria for a mentor is really one, somebody whom you can be really honest and open with, uh, whom you can be vulnerable and share everything that you want to. Two, the other person listen to you and is willing to give your time, to give you that advice, and he or she should be good at that particular aspect of the area where you are seeking a mentorship, right? So I personally have a mentor for my personal goals, managing my raising my kid. I'm doing it for the first time and I need parental advice. So I go and seek advice from some of the parents that I really aspire to become. So I have a mentor for parentship. uh, I then have a mentor who could guide me on navigating in sales conversation. So I go and speak to them. Then I have a mentor on having somebody who can guide me on navigating career and developing my career from here. So think of what are 3 or 4 different areas where you need a mentor, and it's not one person. You need to rely on different person who can guide you on these areas, because one person cannot tell you everything. uh, so that's my qualification criteria on mentorship. To give you a simple answer, it's really important. It really helps you if you have the right mentors for the right thing, and they can give you honest feedback and advice on.
Sure, thanks. That question was from Anamika. She just clarified. And a related question Sushmita also asked is, how do I find the mentors? I think you already answered that. How do I find the right mentors? Do you have anything else to add there?
Yeah, I think my simple answer is, don't feel challenged to find a mentor. You don't need a Mark Zuckerberg, Zach Ma, or any supreme leaders to come and guide you. Find yourself. Look around. There are a lot many people who are good at certain things and far better at on a certain thing. Just talk to them whether they are willing to listen to you. Can you be open to them? uh, I have a friends who are really good at managing relationships, uh, uh, be it with their family, be it with the other friends, and I just choose to go and tell them, hey, I feel that you are really good at this thing, and I struggle on managing my relationship. Uh, can you guide me on it? Then I have my same batchmates whom I really did my graduations, and they have done some international assignment. They've got some good project, and I went on and just seek their support. That hey, I feel I'm not good at it, and I think I can be open to talk to you on these things. Can you be open and give your time to talk to me on these things and share your fair feedback with me? And that is all you need. You don't need anybody senior or anybody top of the world to come and give you some rocket science.
Sure.
So look around, you'll find a lot. And you'll find plenty of people who are willing to give you feedback, and it is all up to you to take it and be honest with them as well. One important thing that mentors look for is an exchange. It's a relationship that you're managing. Is while I'd love to give my feedback, but I would also look forward to see the efforts you're making to work on those feedback. I would look forward to see your progress on those feedback. If I don't see that, the mentors will start to disengage.
There's one comment from Mr. Parul Saxena.
Mhm.
Very well articulated. Great job, Neeraj. Though I haven't taught you, but could make out you had been a good student, and it feels good and proud to you to be your student here. So it's probably from your professor.
Thank you.
So one question from Deepa Kumari. You spoke about growth, and she's asking, isn't growth an illusion?
Isn't growth a?
An illusion. Illusion.
I mean, in a philosophical word, it may so. But I think what I'm really talking about is in the context of um, the career, where all of us are really looking forward to develop yourself. Growth is, I think, in real sense, yes, it is illusion, because no matter where you go and reach to, you still have a scope for you to grow from there. As I look forward and reflect on my career, I'm reaching 10 years mark. I've not imagined could come this far, and now I'm looking at and resetting my goals from here and growth strategy from here. So yes, it is delusion. What is reality is your development, is your learning. Along with the growth, are developing yourself? Are you learning enough? Are you having a different variety of experiences that you wanted to gain, personally as well as professionally? Is an important piece. And I think the most important piece during this process, while you achieve the goal and go and aspire for it, uh, is one, be kind to yourself. I always say that be kind to yourself and stay happy. Don't be so frustrated on not achieving your goals, and not being able to go where you want to go. At the end of the day, the end goal that I want to be is to be happy, and there's no point chasing a growth that doesn't give me a happiness that I want. uh, yeah, that's my response to it. I know I don't have a clear answer to it, but I kind of agree to what you're saying. It is illusional, and it just keep on moving and moving and moving.
Sure. And one question from my side, Neeraj. You spoke about strengths and how. So one question is, how do you find your strength? How do you what can you do to basically realize your strengths? Are there some magic steps, one, two, three, that you would like to?
Yeah. So the framework which I've given you is, so think. So one, to find your strength, you really need to do a lot of, you have to experience many different things. Um, I began my career in one industry, uh, and have experienced variety of project to eventually find out that probably this is something that is my strength. So one is definitely is to experience a lot of things early in your career. Don't just point out that you want to do this. I mean, if you, that is your strength and you're already very confident on it, and you found out early in your career, that's great. You probably do go and do excellent on that industry, but you haven't. Be open to yourself, experience a lot many different things. Second, it's a theory exercise. List down the things, like in the circle that I've shown. What are the things that you think you're good at it? Figure out by doing, reflecting on some of the experience while doing those activity, it really gives you an energy or not, or you feel disengaged by doing it again and again and again. And if the answer is that you feel disengaged, you feel demotivated by doing same activity again and again, you probably, that's not your strength. You're just good at it. uh, 2 years down the line, you may not feel great doing about it. So uh, and then discuss that with some of the people that you trust, some of the people that you can go and have that open feedback. You will strike out a lot of those activities which you used to call it as strength, and you probably leave with few. That is probably your initial strength. Next step is to then start developing your strength and be best at it.
Sure. So one other question, you mentioned that you worked in a lot of projects while in college. When your friends were moving around, you actually worked on projects. And one of the challenge for most of the students today is how to find the projects, because how to find the internships or any projects they want. So you like, what would be your advice for students who look forward to working on real time projects rather than just reminiscence? How could they go ahead finding them?
Yeah, I think a couple of things that helped me, and all of it is connected, right? It Nothing will go in isolation. One, first you have to be sincere and honest to yourself. Are you looking at those projects honestly to add value to yourself and add value to the company where you're seeking the project? I had many friends who wanted to do the project only to reflect on their summer internship. versus the one who really want to do something. So be honest on that thing. The second is I feel the life is much easier than what it was 10 years back, where the internet is open. There is no dearth of the opportunity in terms of the live project. There are plenty of startups who have a lot of challenges to deal with, and are open to give a lot of internship projects online. And I know many of the students that I currently engage with is doing some of those activities. Second, even if you don't find it, the world is filled with the problem statements. Find out one problem statement that's a live project, and do a meaningful work on that problem statement. Right, a problem statement could be is, in this challenging world of COVID-19, how an education system should evolve themselves for the next generations to come and educate them. It's a big challenge that I'm sure our university is facing. The problem statement is, in this evolving world, uh, how our healthcare system should evolve themselves uh, to face the to solve this problem, right? So build your own problem statement, do a meaningful research, do a meaningful work, and you will gain an experience. I talk about one of my similar projects where yeah, I think I picked up by myself to do a research across various university around uh, the knowledge campus. I forgot the area that it was called, where I went on to research a lot of students. I went on to talk to many students for me to understand the value of Six Sigma course that they perceive in their career. And I did that research. I then submitted it to one of the Six Sigma um, academy back then in Noida, and they valued it because it was a challenge they were focusing. And I have presented some insights to them that was useful for them. And I gained a lot of experience from it, whether this would be useful for me. And I had many different experience. So I think simple answer is look for a problem statement, not for the light projects. Find a way to solve it in different ways. Add a meaningful contribution there, and you'll gain experience. Uh, there are other ways to find projects. Is like build your network, see who are the people around your faculties. Your I'm sure college has a lot of other corporate members whom you can engage and build your network, and they can give you a lot of assignments. I got 3 assignments from the college itself. I got 3 assignments for the college itself, um, to run various activities. I managed the admissions for college. I managed international tour and domestic tour for college. Was involved in other small activities back then. I managed to set up a small social unit back then, just out of the interest, which died eventually. But I think if you are really interested and want to do some meaningful work, you will have plenty of ideas. Find the like-minded people and talk to them.
Sure. So yeah, interesting. Basically, you are surrounded with a lot of problems, and we can actually pick up a lot of them. One question you also mentioned that you are passionate about entrepreneurs and startups, right? So and recessions are probably the best time for startups. So what would be your advice for students who would want to start up right now?
Right. So I think I I I, I don't believe in. So while I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, I'm all in for people who have the vision to start something. But at the same time, I believe in the process. I don't believe that success is a one shot thing. Only few people who are lucky being able to do that. But for a lot of it, it's a process. So even when you are thinking about starting up, don't think that you should start it because it's a challenging time, it's a pandemic, you will have the opportunity, you will have this period anytime. Only start when you have a process to grow that startup from step A to step B, right? When you have that plan in place, then that what is really your problem statement is, what is your market size is, who are your competitor, what is the likelihood of you being successful, who are the one who is going to fund you, who are the one who are going to purchase your product, uh, and there are a lot more things that goes behind when you really think about the starting up. So follow that process. Timing is never right or wrong. If your process is right, you probably fail once, and optimize that process. You make a second attempt, you'll be successful. Don't trust on the timing. Whether it is now or later, whichever that period is, my belief is on the process and the approach on how you take it up.
Sure. Sure. Thank you, Neeraj. There are a couple of questions regarding Facebook. I'm not sure because you did mention that you would not want to answer anything specific to Facebook. Do you want to take them?
I mean, I can listen to the question, and
Yeah.
if it is
So
in
one question is from Sushmita saying, what are the skills in a HR profession we need to develop to work in Facebook?
right. So, like I said, sorry, Susmita, right?
Yes, Sushmita.
Yeah. So, like I said in my presentation, uh, look at the people who are working in the HR field at Facebook. Find out what is the career experiences they have gone through in their career before they eventually got into Facebook, and you'll be able to map it, right? If your aspiration is to be part of the recruitment team, if your aspiration is to be part of the HRBP team or any other team, map those kind of skill sets, map those kind of experiences, and start to develop yourself for those experiences. It's not tough. It's out there on the internet. There are job descriptions available on the website for you to go and check out the kind of experiences that we expect, the kind of skill set that we expect, and develop yourself pretty much.
Sure. There's one question from Mr. Professor Hari Shankar Sham. How do you see investment of Facebook in geo platform? I don't know if it's a political, yeah. Uh, yeah. So, yeah, I think we are done with the questions and we are done with the time as well. It's already 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neeraj. I would like to welcome Dr. Monica Agarwal to, yeah. Ma'am, it would be, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Neeraj. It was really awesome listening to you. You have really grown up, and it was really awesome. I remember the classes, and now things have changed. And I was getting a lot of comments on my WhatsApp, like, he's really awesome. Many faculty members who have not taught you, but they were finding, like, okay, we had students like this also. And there's a range of people who have joined, from your batchmates, Ankit and Anamika, to the current students like Shushmita who are asking you questions. So I'm so
Right.
happy we have a range of students who joined this alumni as well as the students and many faculty members. It was a nice
Yeah.
experience talking to you, Neeraj. Thanks all the attendees and WAF team, and we love to have you again, Neeraj, maybe later on when we have more students on board. Like to call you, and any faculty members, if you like to say anything to Neeraj, then just raise your hand. We have up to 3 minutes.
I can bring you on the panel if you raise your hand.
Anyone? No one is there.
Thank you so much. I am
Okay.
humbled to be back and exchanging my learning with the students that we have, and I'm hoping that they find some value out of it and be able to make something out of it. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
It was
Thank you. Thank
fantastic.
you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.